Hello, welcome to RT Magazine, a show about Middletown High School, its students, and the community. News about you and for you. I'm Luke McLister. In this week's show, Raeana Kincaid spoke with Middletown Burgess John Miller about Middletown's environmentally clean initiatives. I personally took into the March Madness predictions and opinions of a few MHS students and staff, and Cailyn Zanylo shows us how she prepares her chocolate mousse dessert. This week's show is brought to you by
the D. Buchanan Studio of Dance. Come dance with us.
Oh, yeah.
In our first segment, Raeana Kincaid speaks with Middletown Burgess John Miller about Middletown's efforts to go green and take environmentally safe initiatives while growing and bettering the community.
Middletown has been doing environmental projects for the past 20 years by using green initiatives to help keep the environment safe. John Miller, the mayor of Middletown, comes in and talks about how Middletown first got started with green initiatives and some of their first big projects and what they have for the upcoming year.
So what first influenced you to start doing environmental projects in Middletown?
Well, we have a very interested staff member who is all about green initiatives. And then we also felt that it was just the right thing to do for the environment and reduce our carbon footprint and do what we can do in our place, in this small little place of the world. So, and it's very easy to do when, developers want to come in and build homes, and you can sort of put other green initiatives as part of the development. So in that sense, some of those things didn't really cost us too much.
Yeah.
And the other sense was some of them save us money. And so that was the other attraction was doing those projects like a solar array, a solar field, because it saves us money. Plus it also is environmentally friendly.
Very good for the environment. What was your first project for Middletown? How did you?
The first green project, wow, the first major green project was our solar array. That was probably about 10 years ago. And so that was our first big major one. Did not really cost us any money at all. We had a company that was interested in doing it. So we actually wanted to do this to try to save money on the cost of our water and sewer expenses. So we reached out to some companies and then settled on this one company. They built it, they put it in, they sold it then to somebody else in Frederick. And we get all the benefits of the electrical savings and the energy from solar, but we don't have any of the costs, no maintenance of it. So that was really advantageous.
That all worked out.
That did. The other thing, one of the very first things that we did too, which is a little known green initiative, is what we call purple pipe technology. What it does is it takes the effluent water, that is the treated water from a sewer plant, and we pump all of that over to Hollow Creek Golf Course. And so when you see the pond at Hollow Creek, most of that is filled with water, wastewater that's been treated, and then it's used to irrigate the golf course.
Wow, I did not know that.
Yeah, that probably was our very first green initiative. Yeah.
Has Middletown ever received any recognition for the projects they've done?
Well, we have. We are known in Maryland now as a sustainable community. I think there are 36 in the state out of 157 municipalities. So we did get that recognition about 4 years ago. To the people in the know, that's a big deal that we're a sustainable community, because what it means is you're doing a number of different things. You have this huge long checklist. So those are things that we're doing that, of course, allow for us to get this green initiative and this green recognition. So that's one. Plus some of the others we've sought out to get that recognition, like a tree. We're a Tree City USA. We have to plant so many trees a year. We have to spend $2 per capita, about $9,000 or $10,000 a year just in tree plantings. We're a Bee City USA. So we provide pollinator gardens. We set aside places for that in most of our parks.
Wow.
Those are a couple of them.
Do you have any tree plantings coming up, or any other ones coming up this year that people could go volunteer at?
Yeah, good. Well, we'd be glad to have you. And starting probably in April, usually around Arbor Day, we do a tree planting. And I think we're trying to plant anywhere between 50 to 100 trees.
With the 2021 March Madness Tournament in Indianapolis, Indiana underway, I asked MHS students and staff for their March Madness brackets and predictions. The annual spring NCAA men's basketball tournament known as March Madness is coming up this year, after last year's 2020 tournament was canceled due to the initial outbreak of COVID-19. MHS staff and students share their predictions on the tournament and how far they think their favorite team will go in the tournament.
Pretty happy because last year we didn't get to watch it, obviously, and it was kind of boring over quarantine not having any college basketball to watch.
You know, I haven't had it in 2 years, and it's, considering how big of a sports fan I am, it's one of my most favorite times of the year.
So happy. It was March sadness last year without a tournament. I look forward every year to filling out my bracket, especially as my kids are getting older too. They fill out brackets. But we love all the basketball games on all the time. It's great.
I'm definitely glad that there's a tournament happening this year. It'll fill up the next 2 weeks for me.
Yeah, I can't wait. Love March Madness, and yeah, last year was a bummer, especially since so many teams were hot right beforehand. It kind of really ruined it for especially seniors.
I'm happy because it means that they were able to get this season in, which I know was a little tricky with some of the issues, and it certainly felt weird last spring not to have March Madness. I think for me, the best days, I know they've changed the schedule a little bit this year, but the best days are that Thursday and Friday, where once you go home in the afternoon, there's always games on, and then you're just kind of watching multiple games. So without that was sort of, part of that very weird spring we had last year. So it's nice to have it back.
Due to COVID-19, all games will be held in Indiana this year to help limit the spread of the virus. MHS staff and students share their predictions of how this bubble format will affect the teams.
I think it's going to be a lot harder for the higher seeds to upset the lower seeds because there's not going to be as many fans, and they're not going to be at their in the different destinations this year.
A little bit more refreshed because there's no travel, which probably make the quality of play in the games a little bit better.
I think that hopefully keeping everything self-contained will really limit unpleasant and unfortunate surprises for teams.
Well, if you compare it to the NBA, when they were in the bubble, it seems like scoring was way up. That's just speculation at this point, and who knows what's going to happen.
I think it's going to make a difference. I think they've done, studies on it that show that if you're within 150 miles of where you play, that gives you a bit of an advantage.
Syracuse, yeah. It's always been my squad.
Maryland.
Love the Big 12. So really, I'm kind of rooting for any Big 12 team in the tourney.
North Carolina, just love the heart that they had to get in the tournament this year.
The West Virginia Mountaineers, and I'm hopeful. I think we have a really good, talented team and also deep team. I like McNeil and Deuce McBride, and of course Taz Sherman. I think Taz and Deuce can score from anywhere, and I think McNeil is one of the better outside shooters in the game.
I hope Mount St. Mary's wins the play-in game, just because I think it's always great, when they get into the tournament. I have to say that I come across some coaching books and been reading about recently, the last few years, about Gonzaga basketball, and I got to say that I know they're not a sleeper. I know that they're not a Cinderella anymore because they're undefeated. But I really hope that this can be their year, just because they've been so close so often, and I like the way they run their program.
I always pick a 12 seed and a 10 seed upset because those happen every year.
I think Utah State is really good. and they're an 11 seed. And I had them going to the Sweet 16.
I had Oklahoma beating Gonzaga.
I have UC Santa Barbara going pretty far.
A couple of the ones Oregon's got a good scoring team. They're a 7 seed. So although they're in the West with Gonzaga, but I like them.
It's always so trendy to kind of go with the with the like 12 pick. If you're going to follow your Frederick County heart, maybe you say Mount St. Mary's is going to upset Michigan, but I just don't think that that's going to happen, unfortunately.
I have Gonzaga, Texas Tech, Oklahoma State, and Florida State. And then I have Gonzaga and Texas Tech in the championship.
Gonzaga, Alabama, Ohio State, and Illinois.
Baylor, Oklahoma State, FSU, and UVA.
Illinois, Oklahoma State, Iowa, and then Michigan.
I gotta have the West Virginia Mountaineers in the Final Four. I had them with Gonzaga. I think Michigan was in there, and let's see what's the other. Looking down at my notes here. I think probably Baylor was the one out of the South.
I have Gonzaga right now, but it's kind of a risky pick because I haven't lost yet this year, and usually teams will go undefeated through the entire season.
One of all is Illinois. They have 2 really good players, Ayo Desumnu and Kofi Cookburn. They were two of the best players in college basketball, and I think that those 2 players, along with their good supporting cast, can get them to the championship and allow them to win it all.
Baylor Bears.
Illinois is going to win it all. They're just insane.
I do have West Virginia winning it all. So I'm putting it on record right now. So if they win, so that's my biased opinion. But I guess if I just went, I think Gonzaga's got a really good team. So I think they're going to be tough to beat.
I can just, if I can be boring, I would go with Gonzaga, but I really have to say that, I feel like it's going to be a team within that 150-mile range. So I'd want it to be somebody that's maybe either hasn't done it before, hasn't done it in a while. So I kind of am rooting for Illinois. I feel like that would be a fun one just to see somebody different.
For our final segment, Cailyn Zanylo dives into the kitchen and taps into her culinary expertise to show us how she makes her chocolate mousse dessert. That's it for this episode of RT Magazine, part of the Roundtable's multimedia experience. Thanks for watching. You can find all our episodes on mhsroundtable.com, or you can download our app, Student News Source, for access to all our articles, videos, and podcasts. Have a great week.